Now to the Chinese app sending shockwaves across the artificial intelligence industry. Tech stocks taking, let's just call it a dramatic plunge on Monday as a new chatbot called DeepSeek hit the market, causing concern among investors.
Yeah, top AI chip maker NVIDIA losing nearly $600 billion in market value. Yeah, that's billion with a B there, the biggest one-day U.S. stock loss ever. And nobody knows this stuff better than ABC's chief business technology and economics correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis.
Thank you, Gio.
I am so glad you're here because backstage we were talking all about this because so much is going on.
Yeah.
President Trump calls this a wake-up call. What happened? Like, why is everybody freaking out?
Yeah.
And why is the stock market freaking out?
Okay, so you have this company called DeepSeek. It was developed in China. It is an artificial intelligence chatbot, kind of like ChatGPT. It can talk to you, have a conversation, assist you. What happened when DeepSeek went public, it emerged inside of the app stores, is that people started to play around with it and they realized, wait a minute, this actually works pretty well. And it was developed for far less money. They're using much less sophisticated chips than the chips that are being used here in the US to develop technologies like OpenAI and ChatGPT and Google and Meta. And it costs less money to create, it costs less money to run, it uses less energy to run. Because artificial intelligence, one of the things a lot of people don't know is that it does take a lot of energy. It's using a lot of energy to produce the answers that it does so quickly.
It's not just the software, it's the hardware.
It's the hardware, exactly.
Wow. Okay, so what do we know about how this all came to be in China? And, you know, what are the big questions still looming about it all?
So it's an interesting story. It's still developing, by the way. And again, this is coming from China, where we don't have a way of verifying the answers to all of these questions in the way that we might with a US-based company. So it was built by a team of engineers who were originally building something for a hedge fund, a financial company, and they built this and put it out into the market. They say it took only a couple of months, $6 million. Okay, $6 million is a big number, but in the US, OpenAI, Google, Meta, they're spending billions of dollars to build the models. And now that it's on the market, it's the #1 app right now in the Google and Apple App Store. People are downloading this. It's ahead of ChatGPT, which is the other big artificial intelligence app that people are downloading. And it's really sent shockwaves through the market, I think, because there was this idea that the U.S. was just naturally going to dominate here. We have regulations on China that keep them from getting access to some of our top technology, but they found a loophole. They found a way around it, and that is part of what really freaked out Wall Street yesterday.
Well, I'm so glad you brought that up because I remember this interview you had with the head of ChatGPT, and you specifically asked him, in the wrong hands,
Yes.
could this be bad? And he said yes, and he specifically said China.
Yeah, we talked about China, we talked about Russia. Vladimir Putin has said whoever controls artificial intelligence and really develops this to the sort of nth final degree controls the world. And that's really, at the end of the day, I mean, these are like very big, sort of hard to wrap your head around things. But it is changing industries right now. Even if you've never downloaded these apps, it's changing everything from retail to your grocery store to how you watch videos to the manufacturing that's happening to how packages get delivered. Really, every single business is looking at these technologies, finding ways to integrate them, even if you're not seeing it yet. So where that technology comes from, and in particular, if the dominant player is China, that puts the U.S. at a giant disadvantage, which again is why the president is saying it's a wake-up call. It's why the CEO, Sam Altman of OpenAI, also came out and said, we need to be on top of this.
All right, so what does this mean going forward for stocks, the tech industry? How are they all going to respond to this?
Yeah, I think the context of all of this is that tech stocks have been high flyers for a very long time. Even after yesterday's sell-off, the stock market is up 22%. The S&P 500, that's probably what's in most people's 401k, still up 22% over the last year. Stocks have just been really on a tear, in part because of artificial intelligence and all of the promises of technology and what it can bring. A lot of the investors and analysts I've been talking to think about what happened yesterday as a sort of demi wake-up call, and they see a lot of possibilities for the future of the U.S. development as well, because we are now in this race and no one wants to take their foot off the gas, and that does mean growth for a lot of these underlying companies going forward.
Didn't I tell you all? She knows her stuff.
Did that help?
I know.
I
That
hope
really
so.
did.
Okay.
And it's so interesting because this is something I just didn't understand because there's so much going on, but now I do.
I'm so
thank
glad
you.
we discussed it.
Yes.
Thanks, Gia. Thanks,
Thank
Eva.
you, Rebecca Jarvis. All right.